Hey guys, it's Kevin and welcome to another Cinema4D tutorial. Today we're going to be doing just a little bit of simple word art using some Mo text in Cinema4D. So let's go ahead and jump right in. We're going to be using a Bible verse to illustrate here. This is 1 Corinthians 13:13, and it says, "Now faith, hope, and love abide, these three, but the greatest of these is love." So those three words we want to illustrate: faith, hope, and love. So I'm going to go to MoGraph and I'm going to go to MoText, and we'll go ahead and do our three words. So we have faith. There's the first one. Just going to call that faith. Let's make another one. Actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and adjust our size and our caps. So I'm going to go ahead and go to caps. I'm going to make sure I have a bevel here, and the size, probably 2 pixels or 2 centimeters, maybe 3. I think 3 is going to be good. And then what I'll do is I'll just control click and drag faith and make a new one. And then we'll do hope. So there's the word hope. Make sure we rename it. I'll just move it to the side so you can see it. And then we'll do one more, and this one will be called love. Faith, hope, and love. All right, so that's the simple part. That's our three words right here. You can see that I've got my perspective view going right here, and then also have my Redshift render view down here. And so I'm going to render this in Redshift, so that's why I have it there. Now what I want to do is I want to put all of these on some type of surface, like a plane. So I'm going to get a plane here, and this is what all the words are going to be resting on, or they're going to be above. And let's just change that plane really large to 4,000 by 4,000. And that's pretty big right there. All right, so next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and, I don't typically do this first, but I want to go ahead and add a Redshift light. So I'm going to go to Redshift, Light, and Dome Light, and I'm just going to add in a HDRI map. This is not really a fancy one, it's just one that I got off the internet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring this one in so I can find it on my computer, first of all. Okay, so I'm just going to bring this into my path. This was a free one I got off the internet. It's just a picture of a landscape, and so that's going to be my outdoor kind of light reflection we have here. I am going to go down to my general and get rid of enable background, so now we don't see it at all. So this is what our render view looks like down here at the bottom right, and I think that's going to be fine. Now, let's go ahead and start rotating these three words here. You can't see but one of them. Let's go ahead and rotate these 90 degrees this way. So just drag that. Hold shift down so you get it nice even 90 degrees. There we go. And I'm just going to move my camera so that I can see them pretty well. Faith, hope, and love. Let's go ahead and put love down on the ground here. So I'm just going to drag that all the way till it's like resting on the plane here. So just kind of like that. There we go. You can see it's kind of resting right there on the ground. And then hope and faith, I'm just going to leave them there for right now, or we're going to move them later. So what I wanted to do for this image is I wanted to have like a ladder kind of going up through the letters. So we have the O and the O of love and hope, and then we have the A of faith. And I thought it'd be kind of cool just to have like a ladder going up through those letters. Just kind of a neat little thing, kind of connecting all three of these words together. And so that's what I want to do. So let me go ahead and make a ladder, and I'm going to just make all of these invisible while we make this ladder. Ladders are incredibly easy to make. Just go up to your cylinder here, and we're going to make a cylinder. I'm going to do it at 2 centimeters, and 200 is probably fine. For our height, we can always change it if we need to. 200 there, and I'm going to do my rotational segments at 32, just like that. And then here at the top and at the bottom, I do want to add a cap, so just go to a fillet, and I think, let's see, I think either 2 or 3 segments is going to be fine. We'll just go ahead and do we'll just do 3 segments. I think that's a nice rounded tip right there. And then what we want to do is we want to duplicate this. So just Control click, drag it over. And then here is the other rung to our ladder. Then what I want to do is just go ahead and Control click and drag another one. But this one is going to be on the other orientation, on the X orientation. So these are going to be our little rungs here. And of course it needs to be a lot shorter. So maybe, how short are these going to be? All right, so probably, and for mine, probably about 25 to 30, somewhere in there. And then we're going to make it smaller, maybe 1 centimeter. And I think that's going to be fine. All right, so that's a nice little rung right there. But we need lots of rungs. We could copy and paste it. That would be one way to do it, but a cloner is much easier to do. So let's just put that into a cloner. And let's make sure that we have a bunch of them. Let's see, how many do we want? So we probably want like 10 of them. I'll do 12. And then of course you want to go to your Y and just make sure they are not spaced out too far apart. Something like that. Let's bring it into our ladder. And there is your ladder. That's pretty simple to do. Just using the cloner on those rungs. Just like that. We'll probably need to add just a couple more here. So 14 for mine. Yours might be a little bit different. Let's do 13. Okay, there is our ladder. Good deal. All right, I'm going to put all of these into a group. So we have your cloner, and then you have your other 2 rungs of the ladder. Just Alt-G to put those into a group, and we'll call that ladder. Okay, now let's bring back our letters again. Here we go. And what we want to do is go to your ladder, and let's bring this over to the word love, and let's just kind of stick this coming right out the bottom. So what I wanted to do is I want it to kind of rest on the ground here. So it's like leaning on the ground, or it's touching the ground, but it's going to be leaning backwards. So I'm just going to start rotating it a little bit on the X axis here, just like that. And now it's leaning upwards. And so I think that looks fine right there. Now what we want to do is we want to make sure that while it's going up, it's also going to go through the O of the word hope. So I'm going to drag the word hope here, and I'm going to drag this over like that. And then I'm going to drag it this way. And actually, let's go back to our ladder and let's make it rotate just a little bit more, kind of like that. Okay. And let's also make it lean on the edge of that O down there. So it's kind of like touching the O of the love. That's good. And let's just rotate it back a little bit as well. Okay, so it's on that O. Let's go to our hope. And let's make sure it's touching this one as well. So you see it's kind of touching right there. You don't want it to intersect per se, but you do want it to look like it's making contact with that letter. Kind of like that. Okay, right there. So you can zoom in and see it is intersecting right there. Let's make it not quite intersect right there. Okay, that's good. And then our last one, faith. We want to have faith come all the way up. And we want it to go up a little bit higher as well. And we're going to have the word faith, the letter A right there, right in the middle. So you can see it's going faith, hope, and love, and they're all kind of in there. It's not perfect. You can see A is a little bit crooked, if you will, but that's okay. We'll just do the best we can, kind of stick it right there. All right. I want to make sure faith and hope are both about the same distance apart. I think we can probably move them just like that a little bit. I would say that looks pretty centered to me. All right, so there we go. You've got faith, hope, and love. Now, it is a little bit hard to see the word love in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the word hope back further. And I'm going to bring the word faith back further. And then we'll just go to our ladder and we'll rotate it back. Not a problem. And it doesn't have to rest on all of these letters. It can, but you know, that's up to you. It really only has to rest on one of them, which would be this A, to make physical sense. But that's good. Let's go ahead and move this one back there. Now, I guess we just won't do it. The problem I have is I want to make sure that we can read all three of these words: faith, hope, and love. And if they're too close to each other, I'm afraid we won't be able to read, especially that love word. So we may not be able to lean the ladder on all of them. But I think you can see all of the letters like that. Let me go ahead and make a camera real quick. Camera, standard. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to do 50. Let's even do more. Let's do 60. And I think that's going to help just a little bit. Okay, so 60 for my my focal length, and that looks good like that. Faith, hope, and love. Let's move hope over just a little bit so we can see that H. And let's do faith this way just a little bit. So you can see with most 3D projects, it's all like just guess and check, just tweaking and tweaking and tweaking until you're finally happy with what you got. All right, faith, hope, and love. Okay, I think that looks good right there. I could spend a little bit more time trying to finesse it a little bit, but I think that's good. All right, so now what I want to do is I just want to go ahead and add some textures here. I have a Redshift texture that I've already got loaded. It's just a metal texture, and I think it looks pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and add that metal texture to faith and hope and love, and I'm also just going to go ahead and add it to the ladder as well. So we got a metal ladder on metal words, and then for our plane here, I'm just going to add a regular material. It's nothing fancy. It's just a straight up standard material that's going to reflect a little bit of that dome lighting. And I think that looks good like that. One more thing I want to do, here's my render view down here. I'm going to go ahead and lock that render view. So I'm just going to hit lock. Then I'm going to turn my camera off. And then that way I can kind of zoom out and see everything. And I think I want to add one more little light here. I'm going to add a point light right there. Let's see here. Oh, that's too bright. Just kind of like that. Okay. Don't want to be too bright, but just want to add a little bit of depth in here. And those shadows are a little bit too harsh. So I'll just change that. So here's before and after. It's not much, but it is making some of those letters reflect a little bit. So if we go back to our camera, you can figure out, what's the best way to composite this. Is it going to be like this, where it's straight on and you see faith, hope, and love like that? That might be one option that you could do. Or you could turn it to the side like we had it original. I think that looks pretty cool too. You could kind of meet halfway. And I also want to add a little bit of blur to this. So I'm going to have our focal point like right here in the middle where the word hope is at. And so let's go to our camera, and then where it says our focus object, just drag hope into that focus object. Then go to your Redshift bokeh here. Make sure your bokeh is overridden and enabled. And then we'll just change our COC to about 4. I'll show you what it looks like with like 20. 20 is just kind of crazy. It just kind of blurs everything that's far away from the word hope. But I think around 5 would be fine. And that's pretty much it, guys. That's how we did. We made a ladder and we connected it with 3 of these words, and we added just a little bit of a metal texture on there and some lights. But that's pretty much it, guys. That's all I've got for today. Very simple project, but it's really cool just to use 3D letters and a little 3D ladder and just kind of connect all 3 of those and just make something that's a little bit interesting. That's all I got for today. Thanks for watching this tutorial, and I'll see you at the next video. Thanks, guys. All right, guys, one more thing I wanted to show you is if you wanted to make a light coming out of the bottom of the word love, I wanted to show you how to do that real quick. So if I get rid of all of my words here, and there's the ladder, and I want kind of like there would be light underneath this ladder, kind of like shining up into where the ladder is at. So what I would need to do is I need to put a hole inside of this plane, and so I can put a light underneath it. And so that's pretty easy to do. What we'll have to do is make a bool object. So just go to your bool, go ahead and put your plane in there, and then we'll also have to make a cylinder. And so we want this cylinder to be the same size as this hole right where the word love is at, where that O is at. And so something kind of like this, I think, is about right. So once you have that cylinder exactly where it needs to be, go ahead and put that cylinder into your bool. It needs to be right below plane. So you have bool, plane, and cylinder, because that means that the cylinder is being subtracted out of the plane. So now you can see in our render view that we've got a nice little hole right in our plane. And it's black right now because there's nothing down in there. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and make another point light. Let's back up just a little bit. So here's our first point light. It's just right in front of the letters, not really doing a lot, but let's go ahead and make another one. And so now you see our other point light here, and I'm going to drag it down below the plane and put it right where that O is at. So I'm just going to kind of stick it right there where the O is at. Now it still looks black because there's no real atmosphere. The light isn't reflecting off anything because it's just blackness. So what we'll need to do is we'll need to add some volume to it. So go to Redshift Objects, Redshift Environment, and you already have some volume scattering at 0.1, so that's good. But then go down to your new light that you made, your new point light, and then go to volume here, and then you can change your contribution scale up from 0 to 1. So we'll start it off at 0.1, and all of a sudden you see a bunch of light coming directly out of there. So you can see, you know, if you were to move this light around, how bright it is. But if you put it down there underneath the O, you get some nice little effects like that. So I think that looks pretty cool, you know, adding some light. You know, the Bible verse says, you know, of the three of these, the greatest of these is love. And so it might be pretty cool to see like this ladder showing how they're all connected, but the most foundational word that you have in here is the word love. And you can also, you know, change the colors here. You know, if you go to your general on your light, you know, you can change the color. If you want to do like a goldish color, you know, that's certainly something you can do. If you wanted to play on the word red and kind of do like a little pinkish color, that could be cool as well. But I think I'm just going to leave it at white or maybe just a little bit of orange right now. And I think that will be fine. All right, guys, that's really all I've got for this one. Just a fun project to do, super simple. But with tools like this and ideas like this, I'm sure you can take these techniques and make your own images and make them really cool. And I'm looking forward to see what you guys can create. But I'll see you again at the next video for real this time. But have fun creating, and I'll see you again soon.